In my last video, I showed you how to take a strider and drop it into a map. Unfortunately, that strider didn't really move much. It basically stayed in a stationary position and would attack zombies if they came into range. What I'd like to show you now is how you can make the strider move around your map. Now here I have a very basic template map. I just kind of made it bigger to give a strider enough room to move. Normally, if you want to make an NPC move, it's not too hard. I dropped in a combine soldier here. And this combine soldier has a path point, target path corner set to big guy path A, and the reason it's called big guy path A is because later on when I drop the strider, I'm going to name him big guy. And the path point is over here. And there you go, see his name, big guy path A. So by telling this combine soldier that it is going to move its target path corner as big guy path A, as soon as I start this map up, he's going to start walking towards that, and I'll show you that right now. So here in the test window, you see immediately the combine soldier starts walking towards that path corner. You can set up the NPC to walk all over the place doing that. But now, let's add a strider in. I'll go to my entities, I'm going to grab an NPC strider. And we'll drop him here. Just gonna move him a little bit over. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Just move him over a bit there. And make sure he's roughly on the ground. It's not always easy to get striders to sit perfectly on the ground. Here. Change my grid to 2. And there, that looks pretty good. Okay, so I have a strider on the map. I'm also going to make sure there's an AI relationship so that the strider doesn't try and kill the player right away. So here's an AI relationship. Open that guy up, and just like in the last video, it's just going to make sure that the NPC strider likes the player. Good. Now I'm going to set this strider. We're going to call him, actually I'm not going to call him anything yet, but we are going to set his path corner to path A. So now in the case of the combine soldier, by doing that, it made the combine soldier walk to this path point over here. Now we're going to compile and see what the strider does when I tell him to go to that path point there. Alright, so you see the combine soldier starts walking right away, but the strider doesn't move at all. So if you've tried to make a strider move in your map, you might find this part a little bit frustrating. So while you're working with combine soldiers, it sort of feels like the combine soldier has a little bit of built-in AI that you can use to make it do stuff. So you can tell it to start walking a path, it can be interrupted, it flinches if you touch it, all kinds of stuff. But there are a lot of other elements in Half-Life Alyx that kind of feel like it's all choreographed. So this strider doesn't really have anything in its animation graph to tell it how to move around if you give it a path point. So instead, you have to choreograph everything you do with the strider in your map. So if I want to make this strider walk, what I can do is give it a name first. So we're going to call this guy, where's my entity name? There it is. We're going to call him Big Guy. There we go. And now what I've done, let's get rid of his path point too. So I don't want him going to that path point. Not that he was going to anyways. Okay, and now what I've done is I've set up several scripted sequences. And each of these scripted sequences is going to tell the strider to do one action. So instead of giving the strider the kind of general instructions to head to this path point, I'm going to tell him every individual thing he has to do. And that's how you're going to script the strider into doing something interesting. So the interesting thing I want the strider to do is just kind of walk a patrol. And it should walk the patrol until it sees some zombies to attack. Now this might seem a little tedious, but you actually have to have one of these scripted sequences for pretty much every action. At least one way you can do it is having a scripted sequence for every action you want the strider to do. So it can't be a generalized action, it has to be very specific. So I named it here Move Big Guy, and the target NPC is Big Guy, which matches the name of the strider. Now, once you add the name of the NPC here, it's going to give you all of the different action animations you can run. And you can go through these and you can try them out. Unfortunately, a lot of these animations, because they're choreographed, they're going to move the entity to a certain position and then start that choreography. So you almost would have to build your map around the actions that he does. But I'm going to take a very simple action, just Strider anim, so Strider animation, fast walk north. And that's going to make him take 3 steps forward. You can play around with adding an entry animation and a post-action idle animation, but I'm going to leave those blank because I just want him to perform this animation. But then I'm going to have a next script. So if I want him to move forward twice, I'm going to have him move to the next script, which is move big guy B. And also I'm going to make move to position no, because the Strider built in doesn't know how to move to position, so you can't use that like you would again with Combine NPCs. So this is the name of a second script. The second script, move big guy B, target NPC is still big guy, and he's going to walk again one more time north, and then I'll set the next script to another script in sequence, which is going to be C, and then C is also going to make him move north. So now I have moved him north 3 times. That's like 3 units of Strider movement north. And north here is basically the direction he's facing. So 4 scripted sequences chained together, moving him in one direction. And then I'm going to have 3 turns. Each turn turns him a little bit, and I want to try and get him almost to a 90-degree turn, but I couldn't quite get it. So I'm going to use 3 turns to make him turn to the right. So at this stage, we're at move big guy E, and I just add letters on the end so that I know which scripted sequence in this sequence we're at. So at E, we're going to act turn right, and then move on to F, and F is going to be another act turn right. Oh yeah, so you're starting to get the picture here. This is going to make him take 4 Strider steps forward, then turn right 3 times. Now, an important option you have to set to get this whole sequence to work is to make sure that these are all set to repeatable. And also, I add on don't teleport NPC on the end. I'm not sure what that does, but I think that that's going to teleport him to where the scripted sequence is, and I don't want him to do that. So this repeatable here means that the full entire sequence that this Strider is going to do is walk forward, walk forward, walk forward, walk forward, turn right, turn right, turn right. And then this one is going to go back to the first one. So it's going to kick off this one again. So he walks forward 4 times and turns right 3. All right, so now that we have this sequence set up, we need a way to trigger it. Now, you can trigger it in all kinds of ways. Here, I'm just going to make an entity here, which will trigger once the player walks up to it. So this sequence here, and you can see how to make these in some of my other videos, but basically it has an output that is going to trigger that first sequence. So this trigger, when I walk into it, is going to fire off this thing for the first time. And that just looks like an output on trigger. The target entity move big guy is going to begin its sequence. So player walks into here, that Strider should start moving around the map, and this NPC is also going to walk there, but it has nothing to do with these sequences. That's just because I told the NPC to walk there. Here we are on the map in VR. I'm going to walk through the trigger, and that should start that guy pathing. Let's see. There we go. Just kind of walks over the Combine soldiers. Now here should be the 3 turns. 1, 2, 3, and then he should start walking again. Now there's still a few things I gotta fix. You'll notice he's hovering off the ground. That's not good. I think when I set him to the walk animation, it actually brings him up a little bit. And also there's a little bit of jaggedness between the animations. Now in the Combine soldiers, in between animations, there's sort of this blending that happens. So if he's doing one thing and then he moves to do another thing, the 2 animations blend together. Whereas here, it's going directly from one animation to another, so it actually moves his body into the start of the next animation. So it looks a bit jaggy. I gotta work on fixing that, but at least we have a Strider walking. I've also got to get some sound effects. when he's idle and he moves, you can hear the big bangs. Here when he moves, oh my goodness, you don't hear the big bangs. So I'll definitely be working on that.